Now, I just want to let you know that I want you to be prepared to think about family, to think about love, to think about youth, to think about adulthood, and later on in life. What are the impacts, as we have asked the questions many times on our show? What is the role of our youthful experiences? What are the roles of our youthful experiences in our adult life or otherwise? When we are young, how does the way that we how do the ways that we interact with each other affect the way that later on we influence others to interact with us and with them? And tonight I have two experts by virtue of the fact that they have lived their whole lives and they are expert in their whole lives and they have consumed through their own experiences and through their professions subject matter experts in their own rights information on this subject matter. So thank you so much for listening, for tuning in here at Peaceology State at the big station Q95 Radio. Guests, uh-huh. I will start with the one closest to my right. I want you to tell the world who you are. And then I will go to the next closest to my right, and next closest to my right. Introduce yourself to the world.
I am Agnes Casimir. I live in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands.
You know this guy to your right?
Oh, that's my brother.
You know the guy to your left?
My brothers.
In case you guys haven't figured it out, this is my elder sister. This is my, I want to say my new mother, because after but I want to say new, it means that there was something old. I don't say this, but from the time we in our family, we believe in birthrights, and Marilyn, Agnes, Casimir, as we know her, some of know as Agnes. She has, from the time I've been little, she has been like my not step now, like the deputy mom, my deputy mom. Like, if my mom is not there, Marilyn has always been the one that I could relate to, that will give me the love, the support, the wisdom that my mom would give. And when my mom transitioned, that was an easy role for her to fill, because I already had that relationship with her. So, sis, thank you so much for being in studio. Thank you for accepting my invitation. And before I go, well, to the person on the right, there's somebody that's in our family that was born after Marilyn. That is the person I said goodnight to, Jacqueline Cecilia St. Jean Joseph, some know her as that. Formerly Bedno as well, because her excellent husband, Michael Bedno, passed when he was still very young. So some of you may know her that way. So she's not able to be in studio with us. So I wanted to still acknowledge her presence and act like she is sitting between after her. And now I'm going to ask our other guest to briefly introduce himself. That guest has been causing a lot of stirring, a lot of trouble. And if any of you owe me money, please do not give it to him. Because he's not me. And I say stirring up trouble, I'll tell you why. In fact, maybe you can give them a hint when I say stirring up trouble, what that means, because people have been having double takes. Like, what? Is the double min gum? Like, what's going on here? But anyway, guess, introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Dr. Peter St. Jean the second. I'm just kidding.
Unless we don't have the same voice.
Well, I am Anthony Newton St. Jean, originally from Kaichi, Trafalgar, Dominica. I'm born in Roseau at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Now the China Dominica Friendship Hospital. But anyway, I'm Anthony St. Jean. I'm currently hailing from New Jersey. And I just want to say, even before I continue introducing myself, it's such a delight to be here. To my left, my beloved sister Agnes, Cecilia, who is in my heart always, at home listening, one of our staunchest supporters. And of course, the one and only Dr. Peter St. Jean, my brother, my role model, father figure, and all of the above. It's all love in this room. I'm happy to be here. But as mentioned, I'm Anthony St. Jean. I'm from Trafalgar, Dominica, and now live in New Jersey. I also go by the name The Success Student. This is the hashtag, and you could find me on www.thesuccessstudent.com. I am an educator, I'm a DJ, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm so much thing, but above all, I'm a child of God. And I know tonight we'll be talking about family and the things that what we learn and how our families are shaped us through love. And I just want to stress it again, just being a man of God and just surrounded by love, the greatest of all things. And it's the love that brought me here to sit next to my sister and my brother. It's the love that got us through many struggles. And it's the love that I see from reconnecting with my family in Trafalgar and folks that I met in Roseau and elsewhere. So thank you very much, everyone in the audience, for being in my life, for my longtime friend Ian, all my friends in Trafalgar, my boys who I've not met yet. You know, we used to ride, push the sec and drive the trucks and ride the bicycles and all these things, man. It's so happy to be home, and I'm looking forward to having great conversations tonight.
Yes, and by the way, if anybody in Wharton Waven, right, is if anybody in Wharton Waven is listening and you see WAPO, I need you to tell WAPO to call the station, and I need WAPO to tell the world tonight why he doesn't go to church. WAPO say he doesn't go to church anymore. So I want you guys to call. Somebody find WAPO for me, right? Go in Wharton Waven, go by Din's shop somewhere. You guys know where you live it, and tell WAPO I need to call the station and tell the world why he doesn't go to church again. Okay, WAPO, we want to hear that, and I think you want to share that with the world. So WAPO, you know, one of the things, Peaceology is the science and practice of low stress and high joy. One of the things that we say for our shows, and we usually open up with that statement, that human beings are claimed to be special for many reasons, but one of the reasons is that there are two aspects connected to who we are that are perhaps not so well known in other species. And one is having the ability of memory, although we can say that other species have memory, and the other is the having the ability of imagination. And of course, we cannot say that other species, animals, and so on, do not have imagination, but we seem to have special memory, special capacities or things that make us distinguishable from other species, other animals, and so on, is our memory and imagination. The great thing about memory is that you can go back to memory and you can retrieve some great things and you can relive some great moments in your life. The great thing about imagination is that even if you are not there yet, you can think about being there and you can think it before you be it. And you can create a better world already just through your thoughts without any other individual participating with you. But of course, the flip side about memory is that not everything you remember is going to be something pleasant. Sometimes we reenact traumatic experiences and pasts that we have had. And sometimes our memories hunt us because we cannot move from where we are. We feel paralyzed. And also, our imagination can be problematic because our imagination can sometimes lead us to be very anxious. Anxiety is usually a negative emotion associated with thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions associated with future activities we believe are not going to be in our best interest. So we are already destroying or contributing towards the destroying of our moment because we are thinking about the future in ways that have not yet even happened with the imagination. So, for me as a therapist, and for us in the therapeutic world, or the people that help people to build their lives, we say it's very important to think about the moment and to be able to live in the moment. Peaceology is a science and practice of low stress and high joy. Later on, I've given you some nuggets, but I will say, why is low stress so important? Why is high joy so important? Weeping may endure in the night, but joy comes in the morning. Joy to the world. The Lord has come. Why? Not happiness, not money, not power, not fame. Joy. So I asked Wapo to tell us why he's not going to church again, because humor is very important. It's often said that good humor is borderline insult, right? So sometimes you say, "Boy, imagine the double meanings. Calypsonians sing songs and they have double meanings. Good humor. So, and the best humor is borderline insult. It doesn't quite insult you, but you can say, boy, if you just said something else, that would have been terrible. And the fact that you cleverly didn't say that other thing, that kind of what invokes people to laugh because they're just imagining what it could have been like and how cleverly you avoided to say it, right? So I think Wapo has a clever explanation for why he doesn't go to church again. At least in joke, I cannot say that he really doesn't do that. It's all part of his chick. And as I'm saying that, I saw last night while in town, I saw my brother Franklin Moses, whose voice is on the commercial for Peaceology State. And I also want to thank Matt Peltier for the way that he has been helping Franklin to build his life. For us who do media work, who do public work, it's very important that we think of ourselves as a family, and it is so great when we can reach out and help others to build. So Franklin, wherever you are, good night, my brother, and I long to be in the studio with you again. And actually, we need to play that commercial again. If you find that commercial some other time, I want to play it soon to hear your magical voice there. Yes. Again, we are here. Peaceology State is the 20th day of July of the year 2025. We are here live in Roseau, Dominica, the big station, Q95 Radio. You're also live on Facebook. And Newton, because you are sitting closer, you will be the one to read the screen. Can you see? Can you read anything? Is there anything? I'll call him Newton Anthony.
Sure. I can see it.
So, okay. So tell us, what are they saying? What are they saying? Read it out.
Well, from Josephine Francois or Francis, it says rain falling, I believe.
Okay. Thank you. Rain falling, that's good. The plants are happy. And that's just one so far. Okay, well, that's all right. That's good. Rain falling outside. We're dry inside. No bagamu, I hope you're not wetting either, Josephine. Josephine, thank you for checking in with us so far on Facebook. So earlier on I said that you stay in trouble. So tell us, since you left in New Jersey, you were already causing confusion. So what confusion have you been causing on the island?
Well, well, there's been quite a confusion since I left. Apparently, some folks think that my brother and I are identical twins. Although I often mention that you could easily tell the difference because he's much more handsome than I am.
No, that's my line. You can say that. That's my line. I said it first.
Right. Well, it's not copyright.
By the way, you're such a cute baby. You're still a cute guy. Apparently, wasn't he a cute baby?
Oh yeah.
Remember when he came home? Remember what were your memories when he came home first? A little red boy, plump. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So go ahead, do it again.
Yeah. So, but I'm used to that. I have fond recollections of attending my brother's 40th birthday party, and folks were coming up, giving me hugs and so on. And I would say, man, I'm Anthony. Man. No, you're looking for Dr. Seja, and people were in shock. After a while, I just gave up, man. I just started taking the hugs and kisses. I wish I'd gotten a few gifts, but I didn't.
So what happened at Newark Airport? You said you're coming down. Somebody walked up to you.
Oh yes, by my delight, I met someone, and I was just walking. Someone said, Saint Jean, man, you don't remember me? I said, I'm sorry, but I think you are referring to my brother, Dr. Peter Saint Jean, and this person was from Silver Lake. So for all the folks who live in Silver Lake, I'm not Dr. Peter Saint Jean. I'm Anthony Saint Jean, but I'm delighted to be in my brother. I have fond memories of going to Silver Lake the last time I was down here. I got a chance to walk down to the river. I got my feet wet and met some folks. So really nice folks in Silver Lake. So shout out to people, all the super people down there in Silver Lake on my way up to Trafalgar. I always remember when I pass by there.
Yes, we have a caller. Caller, we said that the etiquette of whenever a caller calls, they can interrupt us. So go ahead, caller. You're online. You're live.
Hello, good night. Good morning, good night.
I don't know. It depends on where you are. You're in Japan. You're like in Japan, man.
I don't know. Somebody called me and said, Peter says I would like me to call him because my name is Wapo. And I have to call me because he said, you know, $1 million and you want to give me something. So my name is Wapo. So write it down. I did check now.
Wapo, boy, the radio works. But if you owe me money, I would have been able to find you and pay your bills. Yes, I pull an APB out. I told somebody go by maybe not by taxi show, but by din somewhere there and find Wapo.
And this is some people they call me and say, Peter, I would like me to call us to let him know and let the world know why I stopped going to church.
But that's what somebody told me, that you said you stopped going to church and you will not tell me unless I call you on a radio station and ask you to tell the world. So now I'm giving you a chance because I want to know why you're not going to church again. So tell me now, tell me, Wapo.
Yeah, it's easy, it's just a simple thing. I went to the doctor and I went to do a night checkup. And he told me I'm diabetic.
Okay.
So he found it was high, so I'm diabetic now, So I said, what my next step, what to do, what to eat, what to drink, or whatever. So number one, he told me I could have 2 alcohol drinks per day. So what I do drink from Monday to Saturday. So what I do, I take 14 on Sunday. 2 per day, for 7 days, it's 14.
Okay.
Right? So I don't drink in the mix, so then I just take 14 on a Sunday, And then he tells me about eating. I used to go to church, and that's the reason why I stopped going to church. Because he tells me I have to stay away from fatty food, flour, rice, and even pastas. So I stopped going to church. But if I have to stay away from the pastor, I'm also going to church.
But the pastor, I tell you, he wrote it down for you, he told you in person. How did he spell it? The pastor, they told you to stay away from there. Did he write it down or was it said verbally? Huh?
That's next. Now let me stay with the pastors, then I stop going to church, okay? That's my choice.
And it was something he said to you by voice or he wrote it down?
I think that for some of it's not so clear.
Oh, I was wondering if he told you to stay away from pastor or he wrote down for you, stay away from pastor. Did he write it down or he told you by voice?
By voice, I was in his office on his desk and he told me I would stay away from pastors. So I chose to church.
But what the man talking about spaghetti and macaroni, man? The man not talking about like Pastor Rodney
he never told me it was macaroni and pasta and spaghetti and people. But I knew it was that he was talking,
But the man,
but he should be more explicit, all right?
So because of that, you don't want to go to church and you blame the doctor and say, don't eat pastor. Don't go around pastor, so you don't go to church because church are pastors. Ah.
Yeah, I just want to go to church, and I like to go to church. I was almost a pastor myself. I reached to macaroni and cheese, but I didn't really the pastor.
Well, but you could have told me that in person. The people tell me, say it's only on radio, you're going to tell me. You could have told me that in person, man, after all. But yeah, that's a good joke. That's two good jokes. I have to pay you for that, no, that's free.
Yeah, you have a good night, my brother.
Okay, well, thanks for calling us and adding a little joy.
You surprised me. I live a bomb in trouble. When I come, I see the bomb in water with my pipe.
Boy, you cannot say that word on air, my brother. It's not
okay,
a bomb, it's a pot.
I want you already. I think that's wrong. And that big bomb there. You know what that bomb about that? Only the time you stand them, man, I can pay for them kind of bomb there. I like it.
But Wapo, on a serious note, we have a mission. We have a mission. All right, Wapo, listen. We have a mission. On remember, we cooked that big pot, and the last time we cooked a one pot on that, a big braff. That a whole bunch, but we had about 50 guests at Trafalgar that showed up. That's all right. You're always welcome to come. And then because I was leaving the next day, everybody didn't get a chance to eat, so I threw away 5 gallons of braff. And boy, that's some nice piece. We had about 5. We had 10 pounds of chicken, 10 pounds of fish, and it still had some vimpa in that. Boy, I ate as much as I could.
I wasn't there. I remember that.
So now, so this time we went. We Rapo helped a goat to transition. The goat was nice and white in my yard, and then after it transitioned to be a goat water, right? So Wapo did the process to transition the goat. We built a galta, we roast the goat, the whole goat there, and Wapo. Well, we wouldn't talk about what happened there, but we transitioned the goat, and then we had about a third of the pot, and then we probably had about a good 50 people that came by. And then when we clean, I understood it's PC that cleaned the pot. So I heard that Stalin is a good pot washer. So I brought it over there. But PC took a job. But Wapo, we have a job, right? My brother is living soon, and on Friday we have a goal. We want to cook. You call it a bomb, so I'll call it a bomb. Okay. So we want to pick the bomb about halfway and see. The only rule we have is that nobody can leave the party until we eat everything in the bomb. right? So,
Okay.
you think we can do that?
Yeah, we Friday. You said Friday. This weekend the feast, right?
Yeah.
The cashier, yeah, man. We don't. I'm not
We'll
problem
try
with that.
something. Let's go for half. Let's
Yeah,
see.
anyway, I just finished work there, and I just happened to watch some cricket lighters in the shop, watching this, doing this. When
So you
West
tell me you
Indies
have to
play
go. You
wrong,
have to
there's
watch cricket. You have better things to do. You have to go watch cricket.
now.
Huh?
West Indies I go to watch the cricket match, and West Indies playing wrong girls, so I don't know if they missed the game. I don't know what happened.
Oh, West Indies
But
playing
the
wrong
cricket
there.
is playing wrong girls, so I do watch the wrong girls, West Indies wrong girls team.
Well, boy, so it's good time to say good night. Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
Have a nice brother.
All right, hey, ladies and gentlemen, one of our top comedians in Dominica in the Caribbean, Wapo. Yes, thanks, Wapo, for calling. Yes. Call anytime. You can call us. We need to have some joy and a little humor. Good humor really doesn't hurt anybody. So let's go to. We're gonna tonight. We're gonna ask Ayub Morans is gonna be in our midst music, and every night every time every show we feature an artist, and the last 3 shows we have had music. It's okay, we can have as many times as possible. So Lambi is going to surprise us with a song, and guys, when you listen, one of our villagers, Ayub Moransi, during our break, we're going to hear a song from Ayub, and you'll tell me what you think. What does that song make you think about? One of our fellow villagers, one of his solos. He's a part of Lucas, and they have cut different tracks, and he's a good musician, a good friend. So at Q, anytime you're ready, Lambi, let's get a piece from Ayub Peter Moransi, a good friend from Trafalgar, now in St. Kitts.
You don't know me, so you can't tell my story. But you just can't tell to hide it well. Liberation, baby, I need a vacation. I'm built, working on the vibe, but the money not right.
95 Radio, right at Q95 Radio. We are at the show Peaceology State. It's the 28th of July of the year 2025. We're in studio here. My brother Anthony Newton Saint Jean, my sister Marilyn Casimir are here. We are talking tonight about the youth experiences and the way it impacts our lives. We are reminding ourselves that Peaceology is a science and practice of low stress and high joy, connecting youth experiences to later on in life. And that song that we were hearing is actually from another villager. And Lambi, if you pull that song again, you can pull that song up again. And this, if you want, you can play that song again. The one we were listening to that actually was from a Q Talent show, Tahira John. So if you want to roll it again, you can roll it. We would just say, expecting the Ayub saying, but that's not my voice, man. Right? Yes, okay, let's get Ayub. We're going to queue up Ayub now. We're going to queue up Ayub, all right? So everyone is slow, be happy. Let's go.
Oh no, oui, et nous qu'à aimer, mais nous toujours fâchés, chaque lettre nous qu'à parler. On samedi, nous aller en ville, en ville pour nous parler, tout nous bien fâchés. Si nous dit, nous aimer y'en est l'autre, tout pour nous aimer. Vanita fâché, si nous dit, nous besoin de l'autre, c'est pas pour nous fâcher, pas nous capables. On l'autre jour, nous allons dans fête, en pour nous danser, nous la bien fâché, nous aille coucher, en pour nous chauffer. Tout nous bien fâché, à même mon petit waché. Et si nous dit, no eme yole lot tutu onu eme anita pupashe inuti inuti yole lot anita pupashe aganu kapale. I wanna love you, I wanna love you, baby. I wanna be with you, baby. Inuti no eme yole lot tutu onu eme anita pupashe. Inuti no pisme yole lot sema puno pashe aganu kapale. I wanna love you, I wanna love you, baby. I want to be with you, So, I wanna love you, I wanna love you, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Again, you're here live in Dominica, the studios of Q95 Radio, the big station. Again, you can call in 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. For those of you on the overseas line, you can reach us live at 305-432-9624. Again, that is 305-432-9624. Yeah, it's amazing, right? Because we started off with a tune and then we got into other tune, and the tune is right on cue, as it said, rightly put in the station. What do you guys thought about this song? Any of you? What do you thought about that song, Harley?
I totally enjoyed it. I had no idea Ayub sang. Does he have a CD out?
Yeah, he has a few. Yeah, they have a few albums. Yeah, I just get you some of his music.
That's great.
Yeah, I think you're digging the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Newton, what are your thoughts?
Well, I truly enjoyed the song. It has a nice Creole beat, the rhythm. It's so smooth,
Zouk, yeah.
and his vocals were on point. I think you're talented, man. I need to hear you live, man.
Yeah.
I know this. I could only. It sounded so good on the radio. I could only imagine how nice it sounds when it's live, man. I truly love live music, but it was much more than the voice and the technicalities of the bass and the treble. It was really about the message, and the message was, I believe, although excuse me, okay, I'm from Dominica, but my patois isn't as the best. Right,
but what is this? I know Alimage. What is that? Alimage.
Of course, I know magic music.
For all. If you can say it, that's good enough. That's good enough.
It's everything from
what was Soti Lagasso?
Oh, get out of here.
Well, of course, if you can get out here, you can eat. That's good. That's a good start, right? Lambi, you agree?
But I'd much rather hear let's go eat.
I know Alimage.
Of course.
Rather than Sotila, right?
In fact, you just got me hungry right now, man. We have some nice gel kosher and some dashing broth at home, man. And I ate a little bit because I didn't want to fall asleep on the radio. but I can't wait to measure some more of that and eat some nice junk when we get to Trafalgar.
Talking about that, Lucy, I hope you're listening, because after we're going over to Lucy. There's Lubia and Lucy. You know what I like? I like 2 fried fish and 2 dry bakes. Okay, so Lucia had that ready for me. My sister, my brother, whatever they want, they get that. Yeah.
Yes. I'll enjoy some fish and bakes too.
So you're saying
Tout
that you
bagay.
didn't know. You're saying, yeah, tout bagay. Hey, Lambi, you're not teaching Mr. Patois, Lambi. Lambi, you're a good teacher? So Dominic Chailas, yes, sir. Yeah. Well, when you go to get your passport, you have to talk patois, you know that.
That's fine.
Wait, let me stop spreading rumors. But yeah,
that's why.
When somebody when I said Dr. Sejan said I had to learn patois, that's why I didn't come to get my passport. No, I'm just joking. Okay, let me not make jokes.
That's why I love Google Translate. I know I can translate on my Meta glasses, so
yes,
it has live transcribe, so that work well.
So what did you gather? You said that you don't know much Creole, but what you understood, or how did you get the message?
Well, from the little that I understood, which is if we say we love each other, why do we argue, right? And I think that's really important because I remember when we got married to my beautiful wife. By the way, shout out to Sybil, Amari, and Olivia who are listening in Canada, Ontario, Canada. Big up to all the Canadians, the 51st states of the United States. I'm just joking.
Trouble, boy.
But shout out to all the folks listening. All right. But anyway, so I remember when I got married, and the Bible verse that was read was 1 Corinthians 13:13. The greater of these things, love. And the thing is, so if we're loving each other, if we're doing all these things, why do we argue, right? And one thing that I mentioned to my son Amari before. My son Amari is currently 16 years old. He's a junior in high school. But one thing I told Amari before was that he attended high school is that, Amari, I think I taught you as much as I could. But if there's one thing I could tell you before you go to high school, is to remember the fruit of the Spirit, which is love. First of all, the greatest of all things, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and self-control. So I said, if although you will not find anyone perfect, I don't expect perfections for you, and he knows that already. But if anything does not serve you, first and foremost of love, leave it alone. So it reminds us, just the word love keeps us grounded. So back to the song, if we're at their various paces, why are we arguing? Well, the question is just why aren't we loving each other? So I think we truly need to focus on the love. Go back to the love. Think positive. Love conquers a multitude of sins, as is written in the Bible. And yet, I know that I'm not imperfect, and I'm sure Sybil, my wife, and my kids will give you much. They sit with you for a long time to tell how dad is not imperfect. Well, no, it's not perfect, right? But one thing that heals us. I've been married now for 22 years. I've known my wife 10 years before we got married, since high school. But one thing that kept us together through all the losses and gains is love. That four-letter word, that one-syllable word, I believe is the strongest word on this planet.
Okay.
And so back to the song, why are we mad at each other? I think the reason why you're mad, or the reason why you're upset, because you need to refocus on that love.
Okay. Well,
love for each other.
Thanks for sharing that. So we go out dancing. And one of the great things about art, we were talking before, that human beings, part of the finesse of being a human being, and a human being is a creature that is being human, right? Human being means being human.
Sure.
What does it mean to be human? It means to use the capacities that you have, that we won't say above animals or other animals, because we don't really know what they have. Some animals may be more superior intellectually, emotionally than we are, but at least from what we know. So what does it mean to be human? And what it is to be human is to be able to grow, to be able to have faith, to have hope, to have, above all things, love, and the ability to forgive. The ability that as your life advances, that you are better at being human.
Sure.
You are being a better human being, which is simply being human. Your memories, how do you prevent your memories from paralyzing your present? Your future, your anxiety, how do you prevent the things that have not yet come to pass, prevent you from enjoying this moment? And that song kind of tells us that, like, we're going out, we left together, we came in together. Instead of us dancing and enjoying the dance, nous la fâché, we know we're mad. We go home and instead of look our chauffeur, instead of keeping each other warm, we're getting mad, And then if an emergency happens, it's us that have to drop everything and say, we want you, and go help each other. So that is so timely. That is so timely there. Well, I know the time runs, time flies when you're having fun. And believe it or not, we are just 13 minutes on the top of the first hour already. Almost there. The 13 minutes goes quickly. Patrice told us she could only join us for an hour. It's probably meant the second hour than the first one. I hope she's okay. And if not, anytime we will be able to welcome her here. But Lambi, if it's okay with you, the accordion is to my left, but I feel like playing a little harmonica tonight. Is that all right with you? It's all right. So, know the story of our piece. By this time, you probably would have heard me play live. Know the story of our piece. Before we began the song, before we began the verbal exchange, the dialogue, we heard the same. I'm going to play it on the harmonica. You heard me play it on the accordion. But Know the Story of Our Piece is one of my original songs, the theme song of Peaceology. And we probably will hear it maybe you might hear another piece of it later on. And some young men in Trafalgar should have met Sherman and Marion Popon. Those three young guys, each of them actually, Sherman is 9 years old and the other two are 12. So if we hear the song again, it'll be those young men that are using the drum lines of America. Well, I mean, the drum lines are other places, but that's the drum that they're using. We're playing something, developing something that I call, well, we have Lapo Kabwit, we have Xingping. So we call it Lapo Xingping because we use like Lapo Kabwit. We have that beat, and we have Xingping. So we mix in Lapo Kabwit and Xingping. And those young guys, I just played some tunes on the drums, and I said, play something, just do your thing. So in the beginning, some people complained they were making noise. And all of a sudden, this young guy started to find a rhythm. So the rhythm you hear on the Know the Story of Our Piece, when we play it, it's one of those that we played before. That's those 2 12-year-old, 1-year-old, 9-year-old from Trafalgar that play that beat. But I'm going to do an a cappella with the harmonica that is a little different flavor than when we play it on the accordion. You have any other questions?
Yeah, so just for my listeners listening in Canada and the United States who have no idea what Lapo Kabwit or Jinkwing is, can you just give a quick description of that, please?
Yeah, very good. So Lapo is skin, Kabwit is goat. So basically it's the goat skin that is usually used on a drum, and there's those, like you have djembe drums and those types of drums. So basically, like the tambour, we have this goat skin, right? So the goat skin, when you stretch it and dry it and stretch it, makes a very good, nice drum. I mean, the goat skin was nice last night in the braff too, right? But we didn't dry it. We dried it, that would have been a problem, right? So yeah, so the skin of the goat gives that doop 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 like we have in Jinping.
Sure.
But like we have that type of beat, and we have other beats that goes. They have 2 2 4 4. I won't talk about the technicality of the music itself. So when we beat the drums and we're out there, especially in celebration out, we that's the Lapo Kabwit. So then sometimes we use different drums, but it has this lively. And so when we do Jouvet, like Jou Ouvert, the opening of the day. So when we start out in the morning, the daybreak happens and we see the light show out. Lapo Kabwit is oftentimes that type of music, indigenous music that brings us up to open the day with those acoustic songs. So that's
Sure.
what it is in brief. And that's the Lapo. And then the Jinping is, we have like during Independence Day, so you have 4 people on one for accordion, one with the boom boom, one with the guage, and one for taboo, and they play the traditional song, but then so sometimes you probably hear me, talk about Jinping Bouillon, Jinping Jazz, and so on. We improvise the bass line of the music. Thanks to Odell Hamilton of the Cultural Division that helped introduce us to the drums we have actually belong to the government of Dominica, and the accordion that I played when I have in studio actually belongs to the government of Dominica, because they allow us to use the music to promote the art. So
Sure.
part of what I'm thankful. This one I actually put a jack on it so I can plug it directly into speakers and things like that. But thanks for asking.
For sure.
For the explanation.
And thanks for the explanation as well.
And with you're welcome. With Lambi's permission, here's a little bit of know the story of our piece in harmonica. know the story of our peace. We know a lot about the story of our violence. We know a lot about the story of how we fail, but we know little about the story of our peace, and we know little about the story of how we succeed. So it's a simple line: know the story of our peace. That's it. No matter how you sing it. Yes,
that was magnificent. In fact, while you were playing, I couldn't help but think of my father-in-law, Mr. Bassett Wilmot, who also plays, who's from Jamaica, an elder from Jamaica, in his and who also plays the accordion. I have fond memories of buying him an accordion of on Amazon, only to be lectured about that it was on the wrong type. I didn't realize the different accordions.
So you bought him a piano one?
I bought him an accordion, but I believe there's a F and a C.
Okay. So was it a diatonic like mine with the
It
buttons?
is. It's similar to yours.
Oh, but it was because this one has that. Actually, this one has G, C, and F. So
Correct.
the middle one, but he probably wanted one of those other ones.
Sure, but above that though, it's just, I recently visited Jamaica, and the song that you just played, "Know the Story of Peace," it was just so peaceful to go to Ocho Rios, and walk past the Duns River Falls, and I didn't know that there were big Duns River Falls and there's little Duns, but above that it was just so peaceful. Remind me so much of my village in Trafalgar. Just have the natural water flowing and just listening to the sounds. And the sounds of nature could bring so much peace, from the crickets that I hear when I lay in Trafalgar, which I don't hear in New Jersey, by the way. I have to plug in this electronic equipment that mimics cricket sounds just to remind me at home. But that was just knowing the story of the peace, right? Growing up in Dominica, being around nature. And I know the topic of tonight is how our childhood has influenced us. And I live in a town called Stewartsville, New Jersey, which is very rural. In fact, there's a road called Ravine Road that takes me down to a ravine where on my most stressful days, when I take a day off just for myself, I just go there just to sit and listen to the song of the river, and just be around nature, drive up and down the hills, because we have a hilly landscape where I live. So just being from Dominica, being around the nature isle of 365 rivers, I made it a duty so that my children can grow up in a place that is, although not as quite as, perfect or close to perfect as Dominica, but close enough so that I could feel at home, and that my children could have the peaceful story to tell when they go back to the inner city of East Orange, where my in-laws live, or Newark, New Jersey, the largest city in New Jersey, right?
So okay, so later on you'll tell me what you mean by you say close to perfect or perfect. What you mean? But,
Sure.
but let's take a pause on that. So thank you for so much for sharing
Absolutely.
those ideas. Marilyn, I know you ever saw me play the accordion, the harmonica before.
No.
So what did it feel like hearing it for the first time? Yeah.
So it sounds good. However, I don't have the, we call it,
The
in
rhythm?
songs, the musical,
Here.
to pick up the
cadence.
air.
Okay.
So I don't know what you were singing.
But you just were you able to be in the moment with it?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
The music sounds nice, but I don't know what you were singing.
Yeah. So when and then
Yeah.
I have to get a singer. Lambi, you sing?
Yeah.
You have a good vocalist. You're a good vocalist. Maybe Lambi. Oh, you know what? I suspect Sherwin. Oh no, I'm not supposed to call Sherwin on the radio, so I'm not going to do that. So I know maybe I was I Morancy to sing. Maybe I was I Morancy. Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes.
could probably sing. I could probably sing that song. And if you hear it,
Yeah.
and when those guys, maybe if we able to pull up, know the story for our piece, we had sent it the last time. Actually, if you went to YouTube, Lambi, you'll also find it there. But if you find it, it's there. So let's listen to it in drum, and Marilyn, you'll tell me if it makes a little more sense if a little drum. It's supposed to. So let me, before you turn it up, I'm gonna give a hum of what I'm gonna sing. But I'll give you a hum. Is that all right? So,
Yeah.
mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. So it's like a Negro musical, that type of thing. So let's see, and then later, yes. So what's that?
Facebook.
It'll come in from Facebook. Let's read it and then go.
So Zareen Saint Jean says, "Much love, family. Much love to you too, Zareen."
That's, if in case you didn't know, that's my beautiful, wonderful wife.
And of course, Connie Roberts. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say
that's all right.
Barbara, but she says, "Good night, Trafalgar people."
Yeah, man, Barbara, yeah, Bobby Barbara. Thank you for calling. So let's hear that version. Let's see what it sounds like with this young man playing the drums to the beat. Yes. So that was 12-year-old Marian Popon of Trafalgar, and thanks to Macias and to his mother for allowing us to have him be next door with us. Gistelin, thanks a lot. And Siobhan Telemac and Roma and his mom and others, and even his grandfather called from Canada and told me thanks for allowing his grandson to be with us over the summer. And Shulamit Stevens, Evo, thanks for having a 9-year-old son. These guys have turned my yard into a cricket pitch, a football place, a place to ride ATVs, and we do not have a schedule. I guess I have to go and nap and take late, so they know the sign of when I'm resting or when I'm not available. But so you can find 15, 20, 10, 6 of them in the yard at any time, and it's just a pleasure that we have the space where these young men can come. And they created that. In fact, I played that No Stories of Our Peace. Remember, you heard me play this so many times, Lambi? Several times. And, we brought them in studio here because they, on their own, picked up that rhythm. So when I just taught them a few little things, and I left them alone. And then when I heard that beat, and they said they were making too much noise by the road, so I put them in my laundry room. And so and the video that's on YouTube. If you just went to YouTube and you know the story of our piece and piece La Pushing Ping medley, you will see them. And that's in my laundry room. These guys were playing. I recorded that on my phone in there. And when I heard these guys playing the song, I was in the house. I said, but wait, I started to hum it in my head. So I said, let me go get my accordion. And you would think, and this was the first tick. This was the only tick that we did. And these guys could hold this rhythm. Shulamit is like the main one and beating, and the others feel it. And the other one has a washboard on his chest. That's a washboard I use inside the music. So I'm linking. And that's the first time, that was the first week of the exposure. And that, imagine that, what the greatness that our young people can produce. So Marilyn, were you able to pick up a little more of what is it?
Yes, definitely. I was able to, but I'm tone deaf.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So, well, sometimes, yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, because it's thanks for sharing that. Yeah. So Marilyn, tell us a bit about who you are, what you do professionally. Tell us about that, because some people and Lambi, you probably can imagine, she's one of the most, or maybe the most quiet in our family, right? She's the one that speaks the least, and it shows here. She's not very quick. She's not very anxious to speak, right? But tell us about who you are, your profession, how you go into profession. Tell us a little more about you.
I'm an accountant. I live in the Virgin Islands. I've been practicing accounting for more than 30 years. Yeah, I love it. I'm thinking now, that's the last 5 years that I will give to my company. I call it my victory lap. The last 5 years, really enjoying it. Try to be in Dominica more often, or out of St. Thomas, because St. Thomas means work to me. So visit my boys, visit my boys in New York, have some fun time.
Nice. So now, when we're coming down here in our previous show discussion, Lambi, thank you for the cue. We're practicing this. Lambi said something that you said, do not say when you hear accounting. So I got a lecture, I got a lesson down here that accounting is not really about numbers. So explain that to us, what you mean by that.
Accounting is the language of business. How you perform either to, well, I would think not either to, but to derive, profits or to run a good business. It's not about numbers, as most people think. You have to be a mathematician to do accounting. It's not about math. It's not about, it's the language of business and how you conduct business in order to derive profits, to run a good business.
So on our way down here, you were mentioning something very simple. And you mentioned an experience you had with one of your mentors. You work in the same job, your first full-time job is the same job you're working now. In fact, I was having a little debate with a biker during the biking that's going on. I went to one of the gas stations down there, come to Canefield. And they say, "Guy, where's the guy from?" He told me he was from St. Thomas. So I say, where in St. Thomas he lives? He said, and I said, my sister is the accountant at Manasseh. So he said, Manasseh doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Now it's a School Bus Inc., right? Or
yes.
You are School Bus
Well,
Inc.
Vitron, Manasseh was broken into two separate entities. Vitron being the public transit, and School Bus Inc. being we transport school children to and from school, school-age children.
But eventually I realized that I was wrong in what I was saying, because he lives there now, and I've not been there in a while. But he was so humble in letting me realize that what I thought it is not what it is.
No.
And he was explaining just what he was so gentle in the way that he disagreed with me. But you were mentioning about an experience you had early with one of your mentors that asked you a question. And I know, you went to grammar school, you went to Sifokol at the time. And, one thing I've always appreciated with you is how very bright you are, and how very, not just smart and bright, but how your mind works in terms of how accounting works. So tell me, you remember what the experience was with your...
For that matter.
Yeah, just go ahead.
For that matter, it was at the interview, my job interview.
Okay.
And one of the business owners, or the principals of the business, he asked, what's a debit entry and what's a credit entry? And for most people, they would get into the in-depth, details and technicalities of a debit entry. And the answer simply was, one entry is on the left and one entry is on the right. Because when you do accounting, you have two sides to your journal, debit and credit. One is on the right and one is on the left. Practical.
So that's why you're told it just has some rule to it, and it's a way of doing things. It's not just so big. So you can put numbers anywhere, you can count, but if you have the numbers in the wrong place, you're not speaking the language of those who expect it to be certain places.
Yes.
And that's very interesting, because even in policing, and you can probably metaphorically in technology and so on, things have to be in certain places. One of the things that I teach students when I teach methods in social research is that if there is true Lambi, if there's anything true about something that exists is that it must exist somewhere. So usually I just give them that as the first assignment, and I put them in groups. If it is true, if this true, something is true, but anything that exists, it must exist somewhere. Do you agree or not? If so, why? Or something I just say, what does that mean to you? So Marilyn, you were saying on the way down here that numbers do not lie. I mean, the first thing people say, well, numbers don't lie, but people lie. But when you said that numbers do not lie, you had explained the logic as to what you meant by that. Do you mind explaining to us what the truth of numbers?
Yeah. In accounting, it's like a cycle. You have the ecosystem. The wind goes, it comes down, goes back up, and the cycle continues. So accounting is like a cycle, and the numbers don't lie. It always comes, full circle, and it comes back. So let's say you're an accountant, and you decide to be unscrupulous. They may not find you in the 5th year. They may not find you in the 6th year, but someone will find you maybe even after you're dead.
Because the numbers are not going to lie for
exactly,
you, right? They're going to lie for you.
That this person made a bubble. Something like that, yes.
You fool Elijah.
Yes.
Cool boutique.
Yeah.
So when you're there scratching your head wondering what happening, if the account is done well, you can lie and you can try to hide, but the numbers are not going to do
And
that
you
for
can try to falsify. But it's an exact science.
Yes.
And it can be only done in one way, one correct way. With no sciences.
Yeah, you and I never spoke about this, but in part of my intelligence, national security type of work, I do forensic accounting. I mean, I do this, I'm not forensic accountant, but in part of what I do, one of the things is to know some basics about, at least to tell a specialist accountant who does higher level forensic work that there is a flag. So at least I can identify a flag, and I can go deeper than that. And I don't need to because somebody, but then I say, okay, we need somebody who understands the logic of accounting, the language of accounting, to find out what the numbers are telling us, rather than what somebody else trying to make it say.
Okay. And in my practice, I always say to the principles of the business, I want my answer always to be, when something is found to be not correct, my answer, I always want it to be, I honestly thought it was so. I honestly thought it was so.
And what's the logic? Because that's how it's supposed to be, or what we expect it to be?
Because I wasn't trying to falsify or any information. Because if you say that it means that we can go back, no matter how many years later, and figure out, okay, and then you'll figure it out that this person really wasn't trying to make somebody think that, that they were trying to do something that was not correct, like that.
That is very important, because we have in criminal law, we have something called mens rea, which is criminal intent. There is mala in se and there's mala in prohibitum. Mala in se means something that is wrong in and of itself, Latin, and mala prohibitum is something that is wrong because it is prohibited, right? But mens rea, the criminal intent, is very important. So when someone says that I honestly believe it was correct, then it's just like a murder is to say, well, I'm going to hurt somebody, and the hurt I want to cause someone to kill them. This is the person I want to kill, and I'm the one to kill them. That's like first degree, right? That's criminal intent, right? But if somehow you were going to frighten them, or you want to hurt them but not kill them, or you're trying to frighten them but not hurt them, then it changes, right? So that's important. And later on, as we talk about law, we talk about family and values and so on. One of the important things we know that the good values we have that are foundational in our lives are good for every aspect of our lives. Whether you are a janitor, whether you are a cook, whether you are an accountant, whether you are a prime minister, whether you are a police officer, the good character that you build resonate. That's why it's so important with so many young people I work with to teach them good character early. Because whatever else, you never know, that person might be the one to use the syringe. That person will be in charge of money. That person could be the one at the airport collecting money, collecting cash in the cabaret. But so it's very important that we have an early deposit into good character building. Thanks for sharing that. I see someone have made a grand entrance on StreamYard. and it's no other than our co-host.
Yes, I made it. I made it. Had a few meetings, got off of work, but I'm finally
Take
here,
it
so that's good.
easy. Yes. What it feels like to be hanging out with your big uncle and your big aunt.
It's really nice to see them. I haven't seen them since last summer, so it was really
Mhm.
refreshing to see their faces. Yeah.
You look awesome. I like those little I like how you call that thing on your hair? The little highlights, is that?
Oh yes, actually, I'm going to get my hair dyed. Surprise color. You'll see soon.
Woo! All right, I went to see the surprise. You have always had great taste, so I'm pretty sure the surprise will be a pleasant one. How has summer been going for you, Patrice?
The summer has been very relaxing to some extent. I would say it's relaxing when it comes to me now finally seeing what adulthood sorta is like, meaning having a
Hmm.
job. This is my first job, so
Girl, you're making some money. You gotta pay my bills.
oh, okay, maybe I don't know what adulthood looks like then. But no, I've been enjoying working and I try to hang out with friends when I can. I went to Six Flags, which is like an amusement park yesterday, and I went on roller coasters and I forgot how much I love them. Like just screaming and laughing. I actually laugh on roller coasters more than I scream. So that was fun.
Wow, that's good. We were talking about Newton and I know it was Marilyn Newton. Somebody I was saying that there is a program in Buffalo called Becoming a Man, and the whole idea is to teach young black men how to become a man. And the senator was asking me when I did a keynote in Buffalo, New York last month about if I know what the Becoming a Man program. And it's not because it's a program created by a white man, mostly in the community of black people, but I told him that becoming a man was culturally inappropriate, was misaligned to the happenings of the black community that I know of. And it could sound like I'm just saying that because a white man had made the program. So he asked me for elaboration. And I told him that a lot of people want our young boys to be men before they are boys. And a young boy just needs not to be molested, a young girl, not to be molested, to be raised in love, to be encouraged that if they make a mistake, you correct them, but you not chastise them. You give them room so that they can make some safe errors. You give them guidance. Yes, you have to chastise them and you have to guide them. But if you're telling me that my 5-year old, 7, 8, 12-year-old little boy needs to learn how to be a man, then you have not understood what it is like, maybe to be in a black man's skin or maybe white anybody's skin. Because so what I'm hearing from you, Patrice, is that you are 20, you're not even 21 years old yet, and you're still your brain is still developing. You have to laugh on the roller coaster. You have to make little blunders. And if you were not given a childhood, or if at your age you do not feel comfortable to be a young adult, you will not be able. By the time you get to our age, you will act like a little girl, because the thrills, that the happiness, the joy you're supposed to have at your age, breaking things and being silly, you didn't do it. So now you're going to be married with children and trying to act like, play around, move around, and act like to do like some of the boys might be. A lot of young men now are little boys. They try to play little toys because they lost their childhood. They never really had a childhood. When they're small, they have to be trying to be breadwinners. They have to try to prevent men from molesting their mothers. They have to deal with people that are talking to their mothers in certain kinds of ways. They have to compensate for a father not being there, father being wrongfully there. So because you have you have the absence of fathers, but you have the problematic presence of fathers. You have the absence of mothers, but you have the problematic presence of mothers. You understand? So I'm so glad to hear that at your age you can still laugh, go on a roller coaster, enjoy it. You know what I mean? And make it. By the way, what you doing with your money? When you earn your salary,
Saving
what?
it.
Huh?
I'm saving it.
Okay, so I remember I taught you some rules about saving. So
30% of check goes into the savings account. You also give some to investing in yourself, into your community, whether it's community service, like donating, fundraising, stuff like that. Yeah, I remember a little bit. I'm
you were
trying.
paying attention. You were paying attention. You see, it's good to listen. You don't have to listen to everything I say, but it's very
Mhm.
important for you to listen to very important things. And what is important is not really what I say as what makes sense to you as important, right? And maybe later on it's not important to you now, but because you love me and trust me, you might say, well, maybe it's not important to you, it wasn't important then. But at some point in your life, you're going to hear the echo of what I said. Because at the moment, you may be resisting not hearing me, but you cannot unring a bell. So whatever I tell you is really meant to be internal, because eternal because your mind, your subconscious mind, stores the information, and your conscious mind retrieves it. So the more you go in there and get it, the more you'll know. So sometimes that's why I spend the time, and your mom spend the time, and we spend the time to give you good guidance. Because once we deposit it into you, one day you can withdraw it yourself. But you have to be the master of filtering what is good for you. You don't do it because I say. That's why I back off. I didn't tell you what college to choose. I don't tell you, when to get a job. I do my responsibility as a dad. But I hope that you take the responsibility and do it. So the first time you got a job, girl, I'm like, man, I don't have to buy anything for her birthday. She already got a birthday money.
Say all that.
I'm stretching it a little bit, huh?
Just a little, just a little.
So, Patrice, thank you so much for joining us here. Were you able to hear any conversation? You have any questions for your aunt or uncle yet? Were you able to hear any conversation yet? Or are you still listening?
I wasn't.
All right. Well, we have heard some good things. I'm believing it or not. I'm always learning from you, Patrice. So anytime I go about 15 minutes without some sort of break, I remember that the executive producer, station manager, radio, TV manager, daughter of mine tells me that I have to practice good media etiquette, right? So it's about time for us to take a break. But we need to remind our callers, and Patrice, you can look on Facebook and tell us if there are any comments after I announce that again we are at the big station, Q95 Radio, www.q95da.com. You can also call us live, 767-449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. And if you are calling from overseas, our line is 305-432-9624. Again, 305-432-9624. And if all etiquette, Lambi, anytime somebody calls in, you have the right, you can interrupt us right in the mid-sentence, and we can hear what you have to say. Lambi, there are a lot of folks who have told us that they've been listening to our shows. People talk a lot about the Stafford Moranci show, the I Moranci show, having Gloria. And they say, Doc, even if we're not calling in, it means that we don't want to get in the way. We just want to listen. We just want to listen. Say, don't feel discouraged because we're not calling, because we just really want to listen. And I'm glad that a lot of people are listening. And I'm going to leave. I love the in studio shows. Lambi, I like to hang out. I hang out with you online, but I love being in person here with you as well. And saying that, here's a caller, right? Caller, thank you for calling. Peaceology State. The caller, you're live on Q95 Radio. Yeah, caller, you not here? Well, I guess maybe the caller will try again. The caller's there. Listen to yourself on radio, caller? No? Caller's there. Caller, you need to speak? No? All right. Maybe that's Wapo, man. Wapo, you played the tricks on me, man, Wapo. That probably was a pocket dial from Wapo. He didn't tell us. We'll call it that for now. Yeah, so I was asking earlier on, I want you in about 2 minutes, we're going to go to another song from Ayub. Caller, welcome to Peaceology State and Q95 FM, the big station. Caller, you here? Man. The caller, you have a phone problem, maybe? Okay, try calling a different line. Maybe call the overseas line or call a different line. Okay, caller? Thank you. Sorry about that. So, well, I'm curious of something that I Moranci next.
Lead me on.
Leave me on. Okay, so yeah, let's take a little bit of that, and then when we come back from the pause, I want you to tell us what you do, what's your profession, and why you got into it. Okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Leave me on from I Moranci here on the big station Q95 Radio.
Might be the right one. Not me. I rise, I fall, the passage of life. As time passes by, I've been with your light, so I step up. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. Lead me on. Lead me on. Them will not see see me crow, yet still I walk through the mischief and pain. I rise again, so I say, God, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. Lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. To the valley, over mountains, I say, God, lead me on. Through the narrow path of life, lead me on, lead me on, lead me on. I rise, I fall, and I'm still alive. With the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Those that don't like my face, I care for them more. But I say, God, lead me on, 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 lead me on. Over mountains, I say, God, lead me on. Through the narrow path of life, lead me on. I will not be afraid, Lord, for you are with me. The shepherd's God is there to protect me. With goodness and love will be with me all my life. Your house will be my home. For it. Give me strength. Guide me in the right path. Just lead me on. Over mountains, I say, God, lead me on. Lead me on. Lead me on.
Through the valleys, through the paths, through the great, through the promising, through the disappointments, through the pain, Lord, lead me on. Thanks, Ayub. Good words. I may have added a few more words to it. This is Ayub Peter Morancy. We showcase one artist every show, and we may play some of our Lapo Jingping or Lapo Bouillon. One of them days, what is it? We do a little Lapo Bouillon, lively up something. In fact, before I leave, I might play a little one of my compositions that the drums bring up a kind of a Lapo Bouillon type of thing, a little bit up tempo type of stuff. We'll probably get to a little bit of that. But
May I say something?
Sure.
Dominica is famous for calypso, famous for bouillon. Then you need to push this thing with the little boys.
Thank you.
The Lapo Jingping, it needs some real serious motivation.
What do you think of what they produced? What I just told you, that what you hear?
It is simple but good.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple but good.
Yeah.
And that's how greatness starts.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes, yeah. And I think that is what I saw, the simplicity of it. And they are talking to each other with the drums, and they were just 1 week of doing this.
And when you could see how simple those guys are, honest, and they're innocent.
Yes, well, that's what we are trying to nurture. And I've said this many times, that the best investment you can make is the first commitment that you deliver. Whether it's the first dollar you save or the first money that you spend to buy something as an investment, because it means theoretically, if anybody else starts tomorrow and they have the same thing you have 1 day of investment ahead, let alone a year and so on. So that's why it is so, this 9-year-old, 12-year-old, can you just imagine somebody that probably could have been 80 years or 70 or 50 years who had that talent in them and never had a chance to even know
No opportunity.
that there's some. So thank you so much, Lambi. Thanks for adding that. And for the Fet Kaiche that's coming up, We've invited. By the way, if there's somebody of the Trafalgar Village Council, somebody find Shadina, find one of the councillors in Trafalgar, ask them to call the radio station and to tell us what lineup they have for Fet Kaiche. We There was a domino a night at the community center, and I mean, it seems that there were people, a lot of people from outside of the community, but it was a live, it was a nice event, lively event. Somebody had I figure a Ford RAV4 or something like that with speakers on it, playing the music outside. A few local people, villagers were there, but a lot of people from outside of the community were there. I think it was a great event, and there are other events. I do not have the lineup in front of me. So DJ Fire or Shadina or one of them, one of your council members calling. We're at the bottom of the hour now. We only have about half an hour left. So find a councillor from Trafalgar and ask them to call to tell the world what's going on in Fet Kaiche, the lineup that they have so far, right? So thanks Lambi for encouraging that, and I really want to say that the Ministry of Culture has a vibrant music and cultural upliftment program in general aspects to it. Contact Odell Hamilton, go to the Old Mill Cultural Center, and try your talent at something, and if you put a band together, they'll give you instruments and they'll provide some instructions. Nothing is perfect, but you will be able to have a start. And even for us with these young guys, I mean, I brought down some other drums to mix with that. But anytime I want Odell to get some guidance and so on, the support is there. So sometimes you say, oh, kids have nothing to do and there are no resources. There need to be more resources, and there are a lot of things that need improvement. But we have to also not just to be able to identify the problem, but we need to also see the promise. And a lot of the promise in our young people, the greatness is right there, right before us. And we need to tap more into that. So Newton, I said after the break, we would ask you about technology, why, what's your profession, why you got into it. And we said before you do that, Patrice was going to catch up. And somebody said, much love, family. And after that, Patrice, what else? What are people saying on Facebook? Are you in front of Facebook yet? Can you see
Yes, yes, it's just all love. That's really what it is. Just like we were talking about. That's pretty much it.
Patrice,
Much
what is
love
love?
to my journey.
What is love to you?
Oh, that's a very deep question.
Yeah.
Well, I think that love is something that's often misunderstood. I think that people often jump to understand what love is. And that's really my definition of it, something that I'm not really sure. But I know that there are different ways to love a person. You can love someone who's a friend. You can love someone who's family member. You can love something that's non-living. You can love the earth. You can love dancing. So I think it's really strongly, I don't want to say to strongly like, because I think love is something stronger than liking, but it's something that you deeply care about, and it can come off in different ways, such as passion. A lot of people who are passionate about their career, about their job, they love their career. So that's I would say the shortest way I can give my definition.
So at 9:45, Patrice, I am going to give the Peaceology definition of love,
Mhm.
and then we can digest. So your task is to make sure that before 9:47 that I remember to get back on track. Is that okay? All
I
right.
can do
Thank
that.
you, Matt. Thank you. Merci beaucoup, madame. Merci beaucoup. Arigato gozaimasu. That's Japanese. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure. Well,
Yeah. Who are you and what you do? Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
I'm Anthony Saint Jean. Also, my middle name is Newton. More commonly known as Newton in my in Dominica, among the Dominica diaspora. But in the United States, I'm known as Anthony Saint Jean. I also go by the moniker the Success Student. Hashtag the Success Student. Well, when I think of myself, first and foremost, I think of myself as a man of God.
So yes, I'm sorry. I know you're a man of God, and we said we're gonna get a caller. Caller, you're there. Caller, thank you for calling the big station, Q95, Peaceology State.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Did you not answer your question properly?
I'm sorry.
Did she answer your question properly? When
There's
you
no
asked about the job?
there's no proper answer to the question. She answered what she wanted to answer, and that is every response is proper.
Yeah, I just wanted to know because what was appreciation.
I'm so, you thought it was what?
It was appreciation.
I don't understand. Explain better. I don't understand.
I thought it was when you appreciate something. That's
That there's
what
nothing wrong. It's not about what you
No, no, no,
thought.
no, no. I'm just,
So it's good to. So
I just
so
wanted to
you're
find out.
adding to the discussion. Awesome. So thanks for adding. So tell us what is love to you, caller. You there?
Love is appreciation when somebody appreciates whatever they love. Fall
Okay.
in love with. That's appreciation.
Nice. Thank you. That's a very good addition. Love. So Patricia, in addition to everything you said, this caller is saying love is also appreciation. Caller, thank you. That's a very valuable contribution. Yeah, you can give us briefly. Go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I mentioned before, Anthony Saint Jean. I like to think of myself as being a man of God, specifically meaning I tried my best. All I know, I'm imperfect to follow the perfection of Christ and follow solid Christian principles, beginning with love, first love, and many other things. In addition to that, I'm also an educator. I'm a for 17 years, I was a technology coordinator. I trained teachers how to effectively use technology into the curriculum. I'm both in K-12 as from pre-K. Although I also served as an adjunct professor at Seton Hall University while I was completing my master's in instructional design and technology. Also, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a for-profit EdTech, EDTECH LLC. You could find me on www.edtechsuccess.com. This is a for-profit limited liability company in the state of New Jersey. I also have a federally recognized nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization called the Student Success Foundation, where this is much more. This is I run this with my wonderful wife Sybil, and I. This is a service-based organization where we provide community service. We started with a Black History Children's Book Club in the basement of our home. That's extended to many things, faith-based things. I'm teaming up with a good brother from St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Island, who's a magician. We're going to have day parties for children. Where we're going to start off in prayer, have positive affirmations. He's going to do his magic tricks, and I'm also a DJ as well. I go by DJ A Plus. I do student parties, school parties, community events, and such. So I truly enjoy integrating my faith and technology. That's the reason why I started my for profit, because I'm a public school teacher for 20 years, and in 5 years I get to retire the same time as my sister, my beloved sister to the left. I'll still be too young to collect Social Security, so I have to depend on my for-profit and non-for-profit for salary, right? But I truly enjoy integrating faith and my faith in technology, because as a public school teacher, it's illegal for me to talk about the love for my God in public school. So I created my own business so I could talk about God freely, and I guess who don't like it can go to another website. But I also enjoy talking about my faith, but it's much more. Faith without works is dead, right? So I don't just talk about it. I try to put things into action. I also have a distinguished godly man of honor and purpose WhatsApp group. And shout out to all the men who are listening live right now and all over the world. Over 100 men strong. We share daily affirmations, videos, and so much more within our WhatsApp group. And I just truly enjoy being with my family first and foremost. Charity begins at home. It all starts there. Serving God, loving myself, loving my wife, and loving my children, and loving my neighbor as myself.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Patrice, I heard you have a job. You said you have a job. Like, is that like you're working for free, or you'll be getting this? You have a W-9. You'll be like paying taxes and making money. Tell us about what you do.
I work with children, so very similar to you. I wouldn't say I'm a DJ. I don't know if I can do a little mixtape,
That's all.
but
I can teach her. I'll teach her.
actually would love to. But no, I do work with children. I'm specifically with ages 8 to 8, but I am around ages 7 to 13 every day as well. And I just really watch them. I play with them, sometimes help them spell. And I also get to see just in general where children are today, at least when it comes to education. That's really what I look or look out for the most, because I know I go to school in a few weeks. That's where I am in my life. So I really just like to be around them and see like the world through their lens to some extent while I'm at work.
Do you feel old with? I mean, you're not yet 21, but do
Oh,
you?
yes, I feel old. They don't know who Michael Jackson is. They don't know who Michael Jackson is. I said, "What? I'm only 20. What do you mean? What do you
You don't know
mean?"
who Michael Jackson is.
No, they said, "Who's the guy who says he?" I said, "Michael Jackson."
Do they know who Donald Trump is?
Say that again.
Okay, I can only say that word once, so I'm sorry, I
Oh,
can't
okay.
repeat it. so, so, what do you see when you were at their age, as much as you remember and as you are now? What change do you see? Tell me with their age and what you thought of yourself when you were their age.
Well, when I thought of myself, well, I was just like, I'm gonna be a kid forever. I'm never gonna have to
Mm,
grow up. My grandma's telling me that I need to know how to count change. I don't need to know how much change I'm gonna get back, or I need to know how to spell. But what's the point of me, writing? I have my iPad, I
mm,
can type it. But now that
mm,
I am older and I'm seeing how some of these children cannot spell because they depend on autocorrect, or I see that, like, I take them to the convenience store to get some juice and they don't know how to count their change back there, or even just common like things that we do in society. When you give money to the cashier, you stretch out the money straight and you count it and make sure it's the correct amount. They're just giving a ball of cash, like just stuff like that. And you would you would think that they would know not to do that, but they're 8 and 9, so they don't. But I think that I'm privileged, honestly. Some people be like, "Oh, you're with these kids all the time, having to wipe their nose." Yes, I do have to wipe their nose sometimes, but I do overall enjoy knowing that even though I don't want to take the credit of their teachers and their past teachers and future teachers, I am a part of their learning experience. So
mm,
now, even if it takes me two more times, they now know, okay, when I go to the store, I need to stretch out my money and count it, or I can count down from 100 when I look at the cents, how much cents they owe me back, or this is how I read a clock.
mm.
And it seems like very simple because most of us listening to the show right now, or we all, know how to count money and do stuff like this. But it's really important, especially when you're functioning in this society. So
Wow. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. So if you were at your age to give advice to parents of children younger or the age that you care for now where you work, what type of advice would you give to them?
pay
And I'm
attention to
talking
the
about adults wherever they are in the world, but those two that the context where you are, yeah.
pay attention to the small things that you do every day and find a way to make it advice. So cleaning up after yourself when you go to the kitchen, well, you do that every day, but you may not think to tell your child that, you know, and those small things will definitely make a big difference. Just like how you told me the rule on how to split up a paycheck, even though I didn't use that until literally 10 years later, it was helpful. And I
Mhm.
think most children love their parents. They idolize their parents. They will remember that. It will be in a small pocket of their mind. That's the advice I will give.
Mm. So, Patrice, you can segment, and I know you have 3 more minutes to remind me of what to say at, at the quarter before the hour. And part of what, I mean, time has flown. Guys probably thought 2 hours a long time, but we're almost there. And part of what we'll talk about a little bit is about how a childhood experience or young experiences affect how we are, especially how we are into becoming parents and so on. Although we have said a lot about it, and Newton Marilyn, thanks for getting into my a bit, Marilyn. We'll probably get into it some more in terms of how your upbringing has affected who you are. But Patrice, I know it's a weird question to ask because you are so young. But if and when you become parents, like your uncle, and your dad are parents now, what have you learned from your young life that you would like to deposit into yourself to be the best parent that you could be?
Make use of the time that you have, no matter how busy you are. If you have 15 minutes, maybe use some of that time. If you have to watch, just include your child in something that you are able to include them in. So, for
Mm,
example, you like your jazz shows, and I know that I haven't been able to go to one, but you would
mm,
invite us every now and then to go. That was your free time out of your busy schedule. And
mm,
I think your child will appreciate that. You used to take me to Chuck E. Cheese or to the pizza places. I still remember that. I don't know the name of the pizza place we used to go to, when we lived in New York, but I do remember you took me there.
mhm.
So that's something that I really hope to be able to do if I do have children in the future.
To make memories count.
Yes,
Thank
make
you so
time
much.
count, make
Thank you for
memories
sharing that.
count.
So Marilyn, how you as a parent, you mentioned you're two tall, intelligent young men, which so tell us, how do your upbringing, your school, whatever aspect of your pre-parent years, how did it influence your kind of post-parent or your in-parent reality?
I know for sure that we were brought up in the best way possible. Our parents were a role model, and they always brought us up in the way, to excel, and to be the best that we could be. We looked up to them because of our role model. So with my two boys, though, I have two boys, they are in everything, but they don't get into trouble. They're normal young men, but they don't get into trouble. They have two good role model in the form of male, you and Newton. You all don't get into trouble, so they follow your example and they look up to you all.
And one is an attorney, and the other one is a computer engineer. Yeah. And they're what, 6'1", 6'3.5" or something.
6'3", 6'5".
Six.
One is 6'3", one is 6'5".
Who's-
We'll be 6'5".
Oh yeah, he stretched.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
6'5".
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Never
I won't
realized
tell
that.
Wayne.
Although he's taller, he played tennis.
Right.
And Wayne played basketball in
Right.
college.
Yes. Yeah. And so what you say, maybe for you as a parent and as a mother of boys, what is maybe the key thing that you have started to continue to drive into your boys?
You keep them busy. You keep your boys busy. Don't give them chance for the devil to get into, in the mix and into their mind. You keep them busy. So for me, I spent less time in Dominica while my kids were growing up. So during the summer, we found things to do in stateside on the mainland, whether it was basketball, tennis, or driving from Florida to Canada, just being together, talking about, because in St. Thomas is small. So they had a chance to see the bigger picture. Could you just imagine driving from Florida to Canada, stopping in New Jersey and camping? They camped with you, Keith, in all, the different states. And so that was important, keeping them busy. Because you hear people say that, there's nothing to do. There's so much to do. But you have to get involved, though, as a parent. You have to get yourself involved. So you have to be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I see Patrice is about to remind me that it's 9:46. Thanks, Patrice. I could read your mind. So, and weren't you about to tell me that it's past 9:40?
Maybe our clocks are different. You have about 4 more minutes, but hey.
Maybe they're on the wall. Thank you. The wall, the one in here says 9:46. What's the time now? 9:41. Oh, they're trying to kick us out today early. Okay.
Yeah,
Patrice.
I know how to keep. Yep. I know how to keep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Good job, Patrice.
I remember you getting those DJs and those people on schedule to be in time, and Patrice knows how to do that. So I will relax and let you do your role. So Newton, let's talk about childhood influence on parenting now, and what you have to say about your upbringing and what type of parent you are as a person.
Okay, so in terms of my childhood upbringing, it was I was born in Dominica. I left Dominica when I was 7 years old. I spent 5 years in St. Thomas Virgin Islands. Then I entered the United States at grade 6 at age 12. I have fond memories of my childhood. Of course, growing up and going to SMP. I remember the one time there was some kind of fair, and I was so excited to see my father. I fell, and I think I probably fainted for a little bit.
You're so excited,
but because I love my father so much, right?
Yeah.
My father, he called me no offense, but his beloved son in whom well pleased. And I find myself calling Amari that, my son, my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. And Amari, that is true. You are indeed my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. I got that from my father. And so just having that love of my father and my mother, and also the community, the village of Trafalgar. I have many parents, from the folks who took care of me, my daughter, and my cousin Wayne, Clarice Morancy, and so many elders who took care of me in Dominica, who were my surrogate mothers, my cousins, even, and family members and friends who just looked out for me. From Karat walking up and down the street with his his weed whacker, who would look out for me, and and Sylvester and all the guys, Marcus, and so many of my Sybil, who was like another mother to me, Nati, and so many others. So just having a community of parents, Jacqueline Saint Jean, Uncle Felix, and so many. It's just a love of the community, and so I do my best to expose my children, my current children, to the community, especially those who I perceive as safe. So that because it truly takes a village to raise a child. And and the village of Trafalgar really raised me. So it's such a delight to feel welcome back home, and feel that genuine love when I exercise in the morning or so forth. And so many of them follow me on Facebook as the success student. I didn't realize I have such a fan base, but I'm just so humbled, But more than that, I just want to say thank you right now to everyone in Trafalgar, starting with the elders and down, right? For taking care of me, protecting me, from chemo and having lunch with me when, Sorrento, my dad used to cook, make sure he made enough for my friends, which was strategy, I think, just to make sure my friends stay close. So just having lunch together, play basketball together, go to the river together, drinking the coconut water together, climbing. Although I did not climb the mango tree, I stayed at the bottom because I was quite a bit chubby when I was younger. I'm trying to lose some of that weight, right? Not even now, but just having the community and so forth. So so there's that familiar love, the village love, and also just attending. I mentioned SMP, growing up in a Catholic church, attending Sunday school. So my children are now part of the youth group. My son recently started it. He gave up he was a promising basketball player, but he gave it up to start his own social media company. But even greater than that, he also wants to get closer to Christ. So he's taking the time, a year off of basketball or just in basketball, so he can become closer to Christ. So, so just having that type of base from Dominica, that love from the village and the strong Christian upbringing has totally influenced me, who I am today, and what I hope to become.
Well, thank you so much, Eden, for expressing this to us.
For sure.
I really appreciate those comments.
Well, it's about time. Yeah.
That's your time.
Right on cue.
So in Peaceology, one of the things we do in Peaceology is that we define things from different polarities. When I say different polarities, sometimes we say negative and positive. But negative is not always negative, positive is not always positive. So there are different ways. So that something that may seem negative may actually be positively different. When I say different polarities, that means that when you express it from one point of view, you should think of it from the other point of view. If you are thinking about a push, you think about a push. You think about a pull, you also pull. So you might think about things that may push you to do something. So example, if you want to be able to be better at exercising. Think, well, what would be great, the benefits of exercising, that we pull into it, but also the things to avoid if you do not exercise. So similarly in love, so that's the logic of some definitions in Peaceology. So I define love in Peaceology the way that I define some of the things, even like peace. And basically, because I say, for example, before I even say love, I say that peace is having the optimum presence of the desirable with the minimum presence of the undesirable. That means having most of what you have, what you want, at the same time with having the least of what you do not want. So it is not about all peace or all good and bad. There's a little bit of bad that may be present. You just have to keep it at bay because you will not most likely be able to keep those presents, those bad at zero. So it's not peace is about having the forces that could consume you not overtake, right? The ones that will propel you. That's a kind of a simple but complex way of explaining it. Love, on the other hand, in Peaceology, we define it as a state of existence where there are no thoughts, feelings, actions, or reactions that are intended to cause harm. So if I love you, Lambi, I have no thoughts, feelings, actions, or reactions that are intended to cause you harm. At the same time, I optimize, or I try to have the most thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions that are intended to benefit you. You understand? So when I combine my deliberate intentions not to cause you harm with my deliberate intentions to cause you good, somewhere in between, you should benefit, even if you don't even know me. Because there are a lot of people we love, we cause them no harm. They'll never know we exist. And if you are the leader of a country, if you are a police officer, if you are an accountant, if you are a technology person, if you are a person that, whatever you do, a truck driver, whatever, when you drive someone, if the music is too loud or something, are you thinking of people in ways that no matter what you do, what you say, how you act or you react, are you trying as least as possible to cause them harm, as most as possible to bring them benefit? And that is how we define love. Because for me as a scientist, I need to be able to measure the thing. So I can, what we call it, operationalize. I can ask some questions and I can measure, right? Both the quantitative and the qualitative value. So when I say to you, Patrice, that I love you, it means that with my fullest intentions, I will do nothing to harm you. And with my fullest intentions, I will do everything to support and help you to flourish. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't disappoint you, I wouldn't chastise you. But even when I may tell you, girl, stop doing it, even if I maybe get a little rough, it is with good intentions. And if I have to check myself, and if I see I'm talking to you in a way that is causing you to be a little bit afraid, I have to back away. Because part of my love for you is not to go into an overbalance of negativity or things that will necessarily cause you other than good. Does that make sense? Right? So we can unpack that in many different ways. There are different types of love. There's agape love, which is just love because we are created by God, just because I love you because you're human. There's filial love, brotherly love, like the city of Philadelphia, which is that because you're my brother or my sister, you have some family, I love you because of that. And there's eros love. Eros love is erotic love, romantic love, that you beyond just agape or beyond just philia, you have a romantic attraction to someone, right? And then some of those loves we don't really mix, because certain people just have agape or filial love, and then an eros love, that's for another topic. And sometimes we have some things that attract us that we find we love that person. But when you tell someone, for those of us who are listeners, when you tell someone that you love them, I want you to think in the Peaceology way that it means that I will do everything I can to not bring harm to you, and I'll do everything I can to bring good to you. Mm-hmm. And when you combine those together, that's what in Peaceology we call. Marilyn, what do you think of my? I always like your wisdom. You always have. My sister is my whiz, right? That's my whiz I go to. What are your thoughts of my explanation? Even though we're winding down for a couple more minutes here.
It's my first time hearing it that way, but it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
It makes so much sense.
Well, thank you.
And I will endeavor in the future to describe love in that way.
Thank you.
I'll ask you to tell me again when we're on our way home.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. I feel very flattered. This is my mother, my father as well. But my mother both my parents are great philosophers, and Marilyn carries maybe the high combination of both of them, So whenever she approves something, I really feel I'm able to gain her respect. And if she has a critique, I humble myself to learn. So it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here. Didn't I ask you the same thing? What do you think? What do you think of that? And I'll ask Patrice a little bit, and we'll get out of here because we don't want to overstay our welcome in the studio.
Sure. I truly love the definition. For me, the most poignant, the key takeaway is doing good to others. For me, my definition of love comes from the Bible. The Bible says, "Love God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself." And we know that all good things come from God.
Right.
So just doing good to others finding the God that is everyone. Everyone is made, and I was also told that everyone is made in God's image and likeness. So despite how someone treats you, you try to find God within that person and do good to that person, good for that person, and also to think of others greater than yourself, almost like, and try to be like Christ, who came not to be served, but to serve, but to serve with love.
Yeah,
and
thank you,
goodness.
thank you. All right, Patrice, you get to have a final word before we start winding down. What are your thoughts about the definition? Anything else you want to say to your uncle and your auntie?
Quite similar to what Auntie said. I haven't heard it that way before, but it does make sense. I would have to hear it a few more times and probably read it to really be able to give an adequate answer.
Well, thank you. That's an adequate response. Caller, thank you for calling the big station, Q95 Radio.
Okay, doctor.
Yes,
No
my
matter
man.
how you spin and spin around, it's coming back to the same appreciation. Something you appreciate, you will never get rid of it.
Thank you, brother. Good. Well said. Very well said. Thanks so much for your contribution. Yes, yes. You know, there are a lot of people who appreciate people so that they can use them. There are a lot of people who appreciate people for what they can get from them. There are a lot of people who appreciate people because they beat them and they believe that if you didn't love me, you wouldn't beat me. So don't ride a horse until you die, and don't spend the rest of your life just talking about appreciation, and also appreciate the content. So try not to just use big words without content. So when you say appreciate, what do you mean? Because some people appreciate you because they can use you. Okay, my brother. So just learn, share the information, but don't ride a horse until it dies, and just say back. It comes back. Everything comes back to that. Because I'll tell you a last lesson. If your only tool is a hammer, everything will look like a nail. So if all you think is appreciation, you will not open up your mind to other things. Okay? So I appreciate you calling twice, but I want you to get off the horse a little bit and break it down a little bit and open up your mind to things beyond what you believe. Thank you so much for calling. Hey, this is the 28th of July of 2025. Peaceology State. Thank you, Newton, for joining us. Anthony Newton, Central Maryland. Thank you. Agnes Kazmi. The super duper woman with a job, not yet 21 years old, hanging out with the little kid, the star of the show, Patrice, joining us from Chicagoland. Thank you, everybody. Call us. Thank you. Wapo, thanks for telling us why you're not going to church again. And see you later. Lucci, have some 2 fish from me and some bricks. I mean, my sister, my brother to you. Everybody have a good night. See you next time on Peaceology State. One love. Remember, low stress and high joy. Live a life of low stress and high joy. Thank you. Peaceology State right here, Q95, the big station. Yes.
Thank you.
Guide me the right path. Lord, lead me. I rise, I fall, the passage of life. As time passes by, I will with your light, so I say, lead me, oh, lead me, oh, lead me, lead me, oh, lead me, oh. They wanna see me grow, yet still I walk through the mischief and pain. I rise again, so I say, God, lead me, oh.